Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Mishpakai. So glad for those of you who can join us. Thank you for your patience, waiting for us as we get started. We'll wait for some more people to come in. Sending all praises to the Most High. Let's see. Okay. Hallelujah. If you guys don't mind sharing on social media, it'd be a great help.
For those who've been asking too, getting a few emails, we will be sending out the dates for the upcoming feast. We understand people got to work and put those dates in for work too. We working some things out, but within the next, say, give us a month. We'll have those out to you all, so y'all can put those dates in for work. And then for anybody who's interested in keeping the feast with us, we'll also have those details to you all as well, as far as getting hotel information, where we'll be at for the feast, and all the details it will require to come down here in Georgia. So y'all be on the lookout for that. But what y'all can do to get a head start is, if you're interested in keeping the feast with us, then if y'all see that email going across the board, email us your name, where you from, and then how many people you'll be coming with, and if y'all could be specific on how many adults and children that you're thinking about coming with, just so we can properly prepare for you all. So please make sure y'all give us those details and email us at the email going across the board. But other than that, Shabbat Shalom to everybody. We see y'all rolling in. Y'all came in strong today. So I see y'all been waiting. So hallelujah. I praise y'all for that. Make sure y'all click like and subscribe and share the video on your Facebooks, your Instagrams. Let your families and friends know. And also, too, while we're on the topic, so long, obviously, if this is a person who is in the space of seeking, we do welcome your family and friends who are interested in keeping the feast, so long as they're just seeking. It's not a party thing. We're not doing parties or nothing like that. This is literally to honor, worship, and serve the Most High in spirit and in truth. And we are open and willing to serve those who are on the path. But this is not a party. It's not a block party. This is something sober. This is something solemn. This is something serious. And we want to make sure we give our Creator that due respect. So with that being said, Chief, I'm passing back over to you.
Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High and Hamashiach, Jesus Christ, who's known by most as Jesus Christ, giving him all honor and praise for his goodness and his mercies. And we thank him for giving us a joy that the world can't give, nor can the world take it away. We just again thank each and every one of you who has joined us so far and in process of joining us, and who actually may catch this lesson later on down the line. We thank you for your desire to come and join us and sup with us and see what it is that we believe Yah has given us to speak in season. I really believe, not to sound real Christian-y, as some people may claim we are, I'm going to say I really believe that this is a word in season. And what I mean by a word in season is that it's a word that is given by ordination and by preeminence, and as well by sovereignty of the Most High Yah. And I believe it's a grave message. And what I mean by grave, I mean by very serious. It's something that I hope that all of us take serious, and especially us men, in the Hebrew community. I don't think we're realizing that we're losing a lot of traction. Though we're gaining people who are joining this so-called awakening. We're just gaining followers and not people who are being converted, if that makes any sense. We're not getting converts, and I believe you don't get real converts unless you get real discipleship. And I think the L we're taking is we're taking an L with our sisters. We're losing a lot of our sisters, right? And why I'm saying this is because if you see how disenfranchised the sisters are becoming with their so-called brothers, it's something of the like of, it's kind of embarrassing as a Hebrew Israelite man. It's kind of embarrassing. And why I say that it's embarrassing is because we're supposed to be those who carry the light. We're supposed to be the ones that's carrying the mantle of truth. We're the ones who's supposed to be, as what Mashiach say, that candle that cannot be hid under a bed, right? We're supposed to be that light that's set on a hill that men will be drawn to them. And if we're talking about we're not a religious community, but we're a culture, how in the hell can a culture do anything without women? How can a culture do anything without their women? How can any nation do anything without their women? How can a community do anything without the feminine aspect in the community? We have to make a decision if we're going to be a gang or we're going to be a true nation. We're going to have to make a decision if we're going to be a kingdom that's composed and comprised of families, tribes, and nations. We have to make a decision to get sober-minded about walk. I think we've become very good at being religious, down to the point where we have divided ourselves into sects, which are basically denominations. Say whatever you want. We have split up and divided so much that it's just like the church now, where you can go down any hood and see at least 5 different denominations on the street. It's no different than on YouTube. And it's literally no different than on the corners. You can stand on a corner and see at least 2 to 3 different camps within a square mile on any given block in the hood. Those are just denominations. So we have, in the outset of this so-called awakening, one thing that we was kind of like our claim to fame is that we had the law, and that law gave us one thought, one idea about what we believe. And somehow we have become subdivided into all of these different groups based on different approaches to doctrine. Okay. But now what we have going on is a gender war, right? We have brought this so-called gender war that was once in the Black secular world. Now it's become a part of the Hebrew movement, right? Mm-hmm. Or what some people call Hebrewism or Hebraism, right? And now, and it's always been kind of there underneath the surface, but now it has kind of bubbled to the top, where you can see a myriad of videos and so-called what they call TikToks or Reels, where women are vehemently warning sisters not to deal with Hebrew Israelite men. And to be honest, I would not, outside of the community that I deal with, I would not endorse my daughters to deal with some of these men. Shabbat shalom, sister Amina. I wouldn't give my daughters to any of these communities. And that's sad to say, because it's the irony is that we're supposed to be the peacemakers, for we're told, blessed be the peacemakers. You know, and I'm speaking to those who consider themselves Messianic Hebrew Israelites. How is it that we lack the love? We lack the patience to minister to our sisters in such a way where they can identify us as genuine men of Yah. And that breaks my heart, right? And this isn't about us compromising the truth for the sake of winning women. But some of the things that our women have to deal with is very chauvinistic. Let's just call it what it is. It's chauvinistic. It is it's feminine in nature. I've never seen so many men arguing and going back and forth with women. Me growing up, that's something that even my father, that was just a man, not necessarily even a part of this Hebrew movement, taught me just from example and by way of informing me that the only time a man should argue with a woman is if he's trying to save her life. And if she doesn't want that, then you let it go. But other than that, there's no argument that a man should really have to have with a woman, right? Because you can't convince another grown person to do what they want to do. But I believe what we can do is facilitate and build a healthy viewpoint of the scripture to give sisters a clear, concise belief system where they can be convicted by it and by that conviction change, versus being condemned by it where they're looking for a reason to believe, but turn after turn, we're not giving them a reason to even want to come into this walk. If I look at growing up and understanding and experience the life in the so-called Nation of Islam community, the battles that we have with women is unheard of in that community. That ain't even a conversation. We don't even have to have, they didn't even have that when growing up, because I grew up in my early years, my father was in the NOI, and I never seen the back and forth in that community that among men and women that you see happen in the so-called Israelite community. And we're saying that we are the truth. We're saying that we are the way and the truth and the life for our people. Yet somehow, some way, men are turning into what do they call them? Podcasts. Give me some of the podcasters out there, and I don't remember all of them.
You got the
Fresh and Fit.
Oh yeah,
passport guys.
Who?
he got to
The passport guys, the passport bros, I think that's the name.
Okay. And then Canuck said Fresh and Fit. You got who else? What's some of the other well-known podcasters that just constantly applying pressure on women?
I mean, I don't really watch.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, I'm not.
The last person I can say outside of like the passport bros that I've heard of is what's his name? Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, Kevin Samuels, right? Let's use Kevin Samuels. Now, is there some legitimacy to some of their arguments? Yeah, right. We don't watch them, right? is there some legitimacy to some of their arguments and their refutes that they have against women? Most definitely. But the difference that's supposed to be between us and the Hebrew community, we're supposed to have a greater understanding of the reason why.
Yes.
Right? We're supposed to have a reason why. And I'm not I don't want to get too ahead of myself because we actually will go to some of these scriptures, but the reason why is supposed to be because of the curses. Right? It ain't supposed to be because women are just totally wicked by nature. Do we have text that speaks to a wicked woman? Yes. Do we have text that speak to wicked men? Yes. Do we have text that speak to what a righteous man should live like? Yes. Do we have text that speaks to and examples as well of what righteous women live like? Right.
Yeah.
So how is it that we have lost this balance in our community? That and the whole thing is this is supposed to be based on that we are supposed to be the ones that have the truth and the solution for our community. Now, this is not to make a paint with a broad brush. There is some communities out there that you can see, or let's say even camps that we can see where there is some elements within their infrastructure that there's order and that their women have some sense of value within their community or within their organization. But overall, you will have to dig through the muck and mire of the craziness to even find those sorts, right? To find those particular men. Real quick, Nasi, do you hear me loud? Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I know in two separate places. So from the outset, I just really wanted to deal with this. And then let me put a disclaimer. This lesson is not about kissing a woman's behind. This is not about trying to be a beta male and attempt to win women over by smooth words, right? We ain't sitting up here trying to cake for no women right now. But this lesson, if you can be mature enough, this lesson is going to be focused and centered with the hopes of reaching the women that want to come in this community and have a pure desire to serve no one but the Most High. Hopefully, this broadcast, if y'all should choose that they find this lesson, that they will find that they have a rightful place within the body of Hamashiach and in his kingdom. And her biology, her thoughts, her worries, her concerns, her insight, her intelligence, her capabilities are not only needed but valued in the sight of Yah, right? Because the problem is what we have going on. We have the enemy winning and taking full advantage of our women. Meanwhile, we're trying to relegate them to nothing but a sexual object. And we're going to touch on how the enemy, a lot of our thinking actually comes from our slave masters. Want to touch on that, right?
Yes,
so the misogyny, the mindset actually comes from our captors, and it doesn't come from our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this is going to be a series, right? This is going to be a series. So we're going to touch on several. This is just preliminary. This is just overall, just the opening of the presentation. And we're just going to cover some areas, but a lot of it is going to be at the beginning, commentary, right? Just to lay a foundation. But then we're actually going to begin to delve into the text even more on the second part. So I'm going to be reading from my notes. Matrix Wars. How should time employ to prevent the great crossover? Why? Why are we having this lesson? To show the often overlooked importance of the female gender in the Adamic union. That's one reason. Because of the writings of the Hebraic text appears to be male-centric because of its overwhelming mentions of the man and his relations to God and to other men is thematic of the text. The assumption is the woman's role is minute to meaningless when compared to the man's importance. But with greater discernment that can only be facilitated with even greater portion of humility, we will see the woman's role, though not equal to man's role with God, her role is equitable to man in God's world. And because we overlook the value and equity of the woman in God's sight, it is taught and pushed. Women are constantly to be reminded of her place of non-equalness to the men, to a point where some men that have frail or fractured masculinity will use the obvious scriptural authority he is supposed to have over the woman. He will misuse that in the attempts to spiritually, mentally, and environmentally bring her to his heel. In spite of his low self-esteem, lack of accomplishments, and pursuit in fulfilling his vision, mandate of his master and creator, he will attempt to bring the woman even lower than he is in his success. This is seen and practiced in abundance among the Israelite men and their various organizations. As to a point, many women that have come into the community shortly leave because they witness the exact same treatment they've seen in the world. In due time, they see or will experience from their men the obvious lack of understanding, being uninformed, being misinformed, and uneducated in the way he should deal with his woman and or sister, which can eventually lead to mistreatment and even abuse. Though I believe a number of these men are just narcissists and suffer from various antisocial disorders and are incapable of having healthy relationships with anybody, let alone women, there are men that are just basically uninformed. In my personal experience and spiritual knowing, mainly among the leadership and teachers, I believe the majority of the men in the Israelite community simply lack biblical, spiritual insight of the Israelite woman. What's her role in our cosmology as a whole, and therefore lacks the wisdom, understanding, and knowledge of what exactly is her full natural and spiritual value, and therefore application in the Israelite home and community. You want to speak on any of that right quick, Maury? Are you still there? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
All right. Yeah, for sure. I definitely concur with what you're saying. Especially as you look at the paradigm of why our sisters is leaving, right? A lot of it has to do with a mental oppression a lot of them are going through. And even spiritual oppression. We talked about this. You have some brothers who won't even allow their women to read the scriptures without them being there, just so they have enough of a stronghold to manipulate if she may have a question or she may not understand, or he wants her to have a certain particular mindset towards the scriptures, right? And I think oftentimes we forget that our women, we have been positioned to shepherd them or co-shepherd them in instance of of ownership, right? They are a possession, but they are owned by Yah, if that makes sense. We have been given that right to possess them, in essence of Torah being the center guide to guide them. But ultimately, just as we lift up an offering, or we lift up the first fruits to Yah because our increase, if she is our increase, then that we should be able to lift her up to Yah and present her before Yah in that manner. And I just don't think a lot of brothers in this walk are doing that properly, and they're presenting a vain offering to Yah in the essence of what their household looks like, especially when she takes on the rough, rugged, even in some cases narcissistic mentality as her husband. And the reality is, I think the key thing you said is that we are, as Hebrew men, we are finding a lot of us ruling over women with a rod of iron, and becoming tyrants even in our very home. So I think this especially with the increase of now a lot of women voicing it publicly and speaking on it. I mean, it's only so much you could do of turning away and saying that the woman's a lie, until you get to the point where, like, hold on, this has to be a problem. There's clearly a problem within our midst in our nation, to the point that now this is becoming a public message. You know what I mean? Where, you know, I ain't go ahead on that, but yeah, I'm with you.
Hallelujah. Going back to my notes. Yeah, man. And I believe that's really the problem. And I believe what's going on is most men just don't understand women, right? They just don't. And that's the crazy part, is that most of us just think because biologically, we know where to put it, that we know what to do with a woman. And a woman is just like us as men. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. There is a design to each of us as a whole. Then individually, we all have just like we all have our unique, independent fingerprint. Every woman, just like every man, has their own distinction and uniqueness about them.
Yeah.
But we have fundamentals about what it means to be a man, right? Then we come into the truth, and then we're introduced by the Spirit, hopefully, along with the Spirit, by way of the writings in the Torah. We come to learn what it means to be an Israelite man. But how is it that we haven't learned how and what we should do to move with an Israelite woman as one? Why isn't this discussed? Why isn't there no discipleship on this? You see what I'm saying? Where men are literally teaching younger men, not just around that, hey, you get a woman to submit. That's all there is to this, right? To where even Yah draws us with love. He said, through tenderness and love have I drawn thee. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So where's our nature and our ability to draw our sisters with love and understanding? There's a deficit in our ability to deal with our women. You see what I'm saying? And then the thing is and I've had to learn over the years, there is an innate nature in women to be caregivers and caretakers. Why? Because with or without a man, they have to take care of the children.
Yep.
So there's just something innately in women that has to love, right? Or has to take care of or nurture, right? But as a man, those are skills that are taught to be a husband, right? We know how to protect, right? We know how to value, but one thing Hebraically, what we don't understand is that Hebrew men are meant to have ownership. we're meant to have ownership, and then anything under a Hebrew's man, a Israelite man's house is what he owns, right?
Mm-hmm.
He owns, but that also means that he nurtures and cares for what he owns. He takes care of, he provides, because all of those things are extensions of him, right? The
I
way
don't
we,
Salika, I don't think brothers really understand the embodiment of when it says for a man to love a woman as Mashiach loved the people. I think we always go to the macro of he died, right? But we don't never look at the microcosmic nature of him. In example, how he dealt with the disciples.
Mhm.
Like, I think we talked about this. And he told Peter, he repeated himself to Peter several times, and I would believe it would have to be in a nurturing voice because he's trying to get him to understand something. And Peter, you can see we can use Peter, and I'm not calling him a woman, but look at his reaction. It's almost emotional, like you're asking me this question. Like, you know, where I've proven to you I love you. I've done this, I've done that, I've done this.
Mhm.
And the Shiach, like, if you love me, feed my sheep. Feed my sheep. And why am I saying that, right? And I've been in this position, right, where you can try to get your woman to understand what you're trying to convey or give her instructions, but when you meet her at the same level emotionally, it does not come off in a way that you really want it to. Mm-hmm. But if we look at the nature how Mashiach even dealt with the disciples and his element when he had to be austere, when he had to call Peter the devil, there's a devil in you. You know what I mean? Because you saying things I ain't told you to say. Like, if you just really peep his nature, it's really no different outside of obviously sexual than how a man should be with his woman.
Yes. Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome, bro. That's big. Because we understand that. I mean, this is a man that had his apostles sit in his bosom. You know what I mean? Like lay on his shoulder. Right. So what is that showing? That's showing. What is that showing? That's literally showing that there was a compassion and a heart that Yah had through Mashiach, he had for his sons, right? That even had for men. And we think that that's like, we be like, oh no, that's no homo. But we think that somehow it's that men should not have feelings or emotions, right? But not understanding the thing that a man that makes a man emotional is that he is not to be controlled by his emotions. The word is supposed to govern his actions and reactions, his responses, or even his non-responses, right? The word is supposed to govern those things. See, and that's what we're doing is a lot of the men in the world, we don't want to talk about it, but a lot of those men on those podcasts are very emotional men.
That's a fact.
Right? Complaining about the woman. And they're literally complaining about the women not surrendering to what they want them to give them. Versus being the man, which automatically just being a man by default, you just go excrete masculinity. It's gonna come out your pores. You know what I'm saying? Bruh, I'm gonna say this, man. My cousins came, one of my girl cousins, man. I love her. Well, bruh, like she really, she messed with, hitters. Like, right? That's what she did in the world. But this man, like, he didn't wear no deodorant. We be like, yo, that, like, yo, like, you ain't, that man is funky. Like, he smelled good to me. But, you know what I mean? There's pheromones within that. You see what I'm saying? There's pheromones in that musk. To where that may attract a woman, but not necessarily a man. But we got these men now that's wearing more perfume and looking good and looking more neatly kept than women now.
Negroes out here wearing fingernail polish.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? And you can't tell them that they're not a man. Right? So what's my point is? My point is that these men crying about all of these women out here they're really trying to browbeat a woman into submitting to them and making them feel bad for not liking them or rejecting them.
Right. That's a fact.
And now that's crossing over into the community. Right?
Yeah.
So let me go on. We'll get in this. So what's one of the biggest things the first thing we go talk about when we come into the community? What's one of the biggest precepts we go hear about? Just y'all take a guess. What's one of the go-to? No, I'm not even talking about women yet. Just period.
What's the go-to what?
What's the go-to passage of scripture to prove that we are the Israelites?
Oh, Deuteronomy 28.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 28, right? We'll go to the curses. That's going to be our go-to book, right? Right? So check this out. A major introduction into the Israelite awakening community or awareness is Deuteronomy 28, the curses. Is used as the spiritual DNA to validate our legitimacy as the true children of Israel. Yes, those curses are obvious signs to the validity to our claims, but they should also be seen as symptoms to our social and spiritual plight, where we use as a means to diagnose and treat the disease brought on by disobedience of our fathers. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 56.
This is the book of Deuteronomy 28, verse 56. And the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not evict you to set the sole of her foot upon the ground.
Wait, so you telling me at one point there was women that was so delicate, and this is what you would call a idiom, right? But do you believe that there's among Israelite women that was so delicate that their feet wouldn't even touch the ground? In other words, without covering their feet, they were that feminine? Huh? You mean we actually had those kind of women? Ain't that what the scripture's saying? Start from the top. Read it again.
The tender and delicate woman among you.
The tender and delicate woman among you.
Which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground.
For what? For delicateness.
And
tenderness.
Her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom.
Stop. Are you telling me that something happens along the way that our women is going to change their behavior that radically? What happened? Let these Negroes tell it. There's no woman like that in all of Israel, nor potential for a woman like that to be in Israel. Huh? If we once had sisters like that, is there a possibility we could get sisters to become like that again? Is the potential there? Go ahead.
Her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom.
Go ahead.
And towards her son, and towards her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet.
So we know this is one of the signs, right? Okay. But we never look at hold on, wait. What happened?
Right.
What happened that our sisters was once so delicate and so full of tenderness that somehow then all of a sudden they just get evil? And why won't we give them the mercy and the long suffering to understand, yes, they may have become that, but something happened. What are we going to do to change that curse? Go ahead and read.
And towards her children, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly.
This is a curse. Nobody in their right mind gonna eat their children. Nobody in their right mind is gonna become evil towards their husband. No woman in their right mind is gonna become evil towards the children that come from between her legs. Something happened. What happened? A curse. And if it's a curse, don't our women need deliverance just like we do?
We.
But guess what? The curse is a result of the men. Read.
Think secretly in the siege and straightness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in thy gates.
Go ahead.
If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, that Adonai, that Elohim, then the Lord will
stop. Who is Moshe addressing in there?
No, the men of Israel.
The men of Israel.
Yep. The sons of Israel.
The sons of Israel. So the delicate woman changed and it became a curse because of who? So how is it all of a sudden we just railing on the wicked Eves?
That's a fact.
$58. No, just read 58, verse 58.
If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God, then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plague, and of long continuance, and sore sickness and long continuance.
This is a plague. Our women's behavior is a plague. It's the outset of the men, our fathers' disobedience. How is it that we have so much pity on each other as men, but our sisters don't get the same compassion?
Right. Sound kind of homo to me.
Sound kind of, bruh, sounds real suspect to me.
That's why I never really liked the bros over you know what.
Right. Like, bro, that's always been gay to me.
It was gaylicious.
Bruh, how can a man that call himself being a nation of kings and priests move without their women?
Right.
Think they're going to achieve anything without their women? Aren't we skipping steps? If you talk about putting a baby before the bathwater, this is a big primary case of this happening.
Yes, sir.
Our women's present condition is nothing more than symptomatic expressions of our disobedience. Read that again. Our women's present condition is nothing more than the symptomatic expressions of our disobedience. And what true physician in his right mind attacks symptoms?
Facts.
Who get mad at the symptoms? Isn't it just a well-known fact? Anybody that wants to make something whole, heal, and complete again, you deal with the cause, not the symptoms. But these Negroes want to make sure that a woman put on a dress before what she could put on that modest apparel wear.
The heart.
The heart. We so consumed by the outward appearance that we ain't even worried about making sure that the inward, the brokenness of our sisters are even restored. Why are Israelite men who claim to hold the truth attempting to suppress the symptoms versus applying the ointment of the truth to heal and free our sisters? May I submit, most of us descended men of the transatlantic slave trade don't even know the fundamental purpose and use of a woman through the Hebraic lens of our three patriarchs. We only have two lenses in which we know them: our own personal post-chattel slave experience and our master's lens. What are his lenses? The black woman or the Hebrew woman is to be is under complete and total ownership without impunity. And I'm going to read off this list, and every man that's hearing this should really be able to check in his spirit. Is this the way I see my Israelite sister? Is this the only lens in the way in which I see her value? She is a beast of burden whom he owed. Now, this is the white man's view of our women. A beast of burden whom he owes nothing but sustenance in the order to fuel for more labor the previous day. How many of his brothers sending our women off to work? And we'll jump in her car and get her debit card and say, hey, I'm about to go get her something to eat. Right. After a hard day work. The next point, he sees her as a sexual object who is an extension of pleasure at his leisure without need for emotional and physical reciprocation. How many of us Negroes only see our women as a means of satisfaction? How long was a Levite supposed to shore up his wife? A year. He was supposed to spend a year bonding with her.
Yep.
Shouldn't that tell you that y'all honored, that y'all want a man to have a whole and healthy relationship with that woman he became one with? See, we'll read and slip right past all that. To shore means to embank, to secure. He's supposed to shore up his wife for a whole year. But do you think that our slave masters made sure after he laid down with a black woman that he gave her any type of social, emotional, and mental support to make sure that she was loved and cared for after he laid down with her? After he spilled his seed, all he did was moved on. And how many of us do the same thing to our women? How many of us have done that to black women in our community? And we waited to get the woman that we really liked to have some type of semblance of a relationship with them. The other way he sees her as a pawn to keep her man and children under his social doctrine of superiority. See, black men don't think, that part I know I don't do with my woman. Sure you do. Sure we do. I'll give you an example. How many brothers want to collect wives, so he'll look a certain way. So he'll attract men to him, to his religious institution. How many men will send their woman out to go work for the man in order strictly for his gain and to his benefit? We may not want to admit it, but as Israelite men filter even our own theological approach to our women through our master's lens, simply because he was and is the only example of man to black female expression we know. Did y'all catch that? He's the only man we've seen operate with a black woman.
Yep. Yep.
I'm talking about being in a man's status. I'm not talking about being male. I'm talking about being in the status of a man, where as a man, you are in control of your environment.
Oh, wait.
You got me?
Mm-hmm.
When you are in control of your economy, when you are in control of your social structure, none of us in the diaspora have seen a black man do that completely and wholly. So our understanding on how to deal with a black woman is through the lens of a white man. And so we use them, we bed them down, we move on. Sometimes we spill our seed on the floor, sometimes we spill our seed in them, but we still move on. What I'm telling you is our relation to the black woman is through his lens. It's not the same way our fathers saw our women.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Because all we have to do is look at the conversation between our Ab Abraham and our mother Sarah. And we will see the equity in their relationship. We will see the honor he had for Sarah. And if we look closer, we will see it in all of our patriarchs. Who sent Jacob to their brother's house? Huh? Was his mother. Did Abraham say, no, hey, stop what you doing, woman? I didn't make that decision.
Isaac.
What'd you say?
Man, Isaac.
Yeah, Isaac, I'm sorry. Did I tell you to do that, woman? Let me make that decision what my son do and go. No. If we don't understand our culture, if we're trying to approach this walk through the lens of our slave experience, we're going to continue to break people. There has to be a regeneration that happens in Israel in order for us to actually develop healthy, holistic relationships between the man and the woman. How is it that a whole camp can put on a show of a woman scantily clad dress? And I think she sang the song, what? What's the song she sang about? All she cared about was her husband getting sex, food, and whatever. But yet she was dressed like a tramp. Hopefully, I can't remember it. I don't even really give that stuff too much attention. But this is a camp that had a woman on a tight mini skirt. And all these Hebrew men around her, and she was getting a concert. That's telling you what these men think about their women. They think just like the white man with their women. Our mothers wore a skirt when we didn't even see their feet. They were covered from head to toe, modestly apparel. In finery, not just no, they wore gold and everything. But their presentation was so set apart that they were distinguished among the women of the nations. And our women now are put on full display as harlots. And that's under our leadership as men, or lack thereof.
That's even in this walk.
Even in this walk. We are not redeemed as a people till our women are redeemed. I don't even think Negroes know that our whole culture is about redemption.
No, Negro thing is about power tripping and payback.
Our women didn't go to camp. They went from home to home.
Say that again. And let's be clear. He's not talking about husband to husband. He's talking about father to husband. He's talking about from father to husband. She wasn't out here by herself, getting her own place, having to struggle and wait for a man by herself, unprotected. She went from protection to protection.
Yes. And why do you think one of the curses is that us as men, we weren't taking care of the widows and the fatherless?
Right. That part right there.
That was a part that brought on the curses. No woman was supposed to be uncovered in Israel. None.
And this just really show you the state of our nation that we have. Let's get even deeper. We got uncovered women. We got uncovered widows. We got uncovered children. And we got uncovered elderly. Every last one of these four areas are ingrained in a system that is not of Yah. And that's simply because the Hebrew man will not take his rightful place of ownership. And not just material ownership, but owning his responsibility.
Only one covered is the nigga on top of the pyramid.
Only one.
So you got a bunch of male brides making sure they leader house is not in need of anything.
Wife and children struggling.
Your wife and children, your wife and children suffering.
You know that old saying, if our elders could see us now in their grave, they would turn over.
Bruh, even some of our worst elders that got us in this trouble wouldn't recognize these niggas.
Not at all. They would have to literally question themselves, did we really do this?
They be like, is this really our descendants? They'd be like, damn, this is the curse?
Unrecognizable.
We'd be unrecognizable to them. Only thing that they probably will identify is some semblance of us looking like them genetically.
That's it.
But like, yeah, we know you said you were casting so far off. But damn, this far? These ain't even men.
We're not even scratching 40% of what our culture is really about, man. We so huge on the outward appearance, and our mind is gone. We might as well say we are white men in garments. We so busy about telling them they can't serve our God. Well, it's the ones we pushing away that we're just like them serving our God.
Bruh, how is it that, bruh, this is the crazy part. How is that one of the curses that our women will become booty and our daughters and our sons will be sold if the men didn't care for their women and children?
Right. We should be ashamed right now.
Bro, we should be on our face. But we sitting up here talking about the woman where that should be a mirror of our failure to lead, our failure to stay upright, our failure to be a holy people unto our Elohim.
Right. You want to call them Eves? Well, Negro, you're Adams. Where was his ass at as to why she got beguiled?
Bruh.
Where was he at that she even had the chance to be beguiled like that? There had to be a lengthy conversation for her to sit there and think about it.
Bruh. He said,
and then bring it back to you.
Adam was disobedient. Nigga, your wife got seduced.
Under your nose.
Under your nose, but nigga, you the one who was the hard head. He just said, Adam and Eve, where are you? Adam and Eve, where are you? Said, Adam, where your ass at?
Mm-hmm.
Where you at, Adam?
Yeah.
I'm over here hiding. Why are you hiding? It's the woman you gave me.
Negroes always like to go to the what's that, Sirach, where it says through the women came sin. But Negroes don't never go to the Brit Hadashah where it says through Adam we have all fallen.
Yes.
Through Adam we have all fallen.
Through Adam we all sinned. Not Eve, but Adam. Like, bro, like, man, check this, bro. Like, bro, are you Negroes really reading the Bible? Are all you anti-Evites really reading the text?
Anti-Evite, that's a good one right there.
Because if you really reading the text, bro, you're supposed to be praying for your sisters.
Yeah.
Bro, we sitting up here on the corner, fully decked out with door knockers on our head and curtain fringes, talking about Edomites and wicked Eves. Well, we supposed to be in sackcloth and throwing ashes on our head.
We out here looking like a lavish shower curtain.
Oh, bro, but we know how to dress the part, man.
Oh, facts.
What did Mashiach call the scribe back then? Whited sepulchres. Say dressed up tombs.
Dressed up tombs for your phylacteries.
And you just go talk your woman, bro. And it's so sassy. This the most sassiest shit I ever seen. Is that men think they go out. Man, a woman, you can't never out talk a woman. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, bruh, playing the dozens, bro. And if a sister really know you, if she really know your dirty drawers out, you don't stand a chance of winning an argument with her.
Oh,
And
facts.
the crazy part is that our women know our dirty drawers.
Mm-hmm.
All they got to do is read, and we'll see the skid marks all in.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
But we want to humiliate them.
Negroes worrying about if she on her period in your house, Negro. You should be asking yourself, should you be in your own damn house? Unclean.
Unclean Negro.
Should you be in your own day? Y'all both need to be outside with the tent.
This is why
we got jokes, but this is all seriousness. Like, we literally sit here and bang on every denomination and religion, but the reality is I don't want to hear nothing about no curses. This is a mentality, bro. They got more, or even the wicked got more organization than us,
bro.
Even the wicked got me. Y'all Negroes really walking around here in unbalanced ass garments with an unbalanced ass mindset, and you expect your women to balance everything in the house while you sitting here with all type of mixed ass fabric. All type of mixed ass.
He supposed to be just wait.
You got Negroes on here, men. All these docile women and men around this one man is literally with a damn Yahweh Shah shirt on, talking about it's okay to eat pork. Like, bro, we literally is out of our minds right now. We is out of our minds, and we laughing, but we laughing from crying because it's like, damn, this is extremely disappointing. And it's like, what, as even as men who are striving to do right, what as a whole, what can us Hebrew men really say? What can we say to that? We can't even explain that. Oh yeah, sister, just be submissive to that dirty ass nigga. Just go ahead through it. You know that one sister, she got saved. Maybe you'll get saved from that dirty ass nigga. What can we really say to this situation? You know, it's really sad, man. And we sit here waiting for a 400-year mark to pass while y'all sitting here saying, I'm waiting for you to take responsibility, Negro. Yeah. You waiting for a 400-year mark, Negro. Keep at it. You may have 400 more. You won't even take responsibility. Hosea 5 and 15.
You said I would go into my own place. Like, bro, until you turn from your folly, I'm not even looking at you. I'm not even looking at you right now, bro. All that stuff is cool, bro. Like, yeah, man, that's so neat that y'all learn how to paste and glue. Y'all learn how to dazzle your shirts and your clothing. That's cute. That's real cute.
Looking like princesses.
Oh yeah, brothers over here bedazzled. With his name, with Yahweh's name in glitter.
In glitter.
But you don't know the rudiments, you don't know the natural element of what it means to build a nation. Bro, and this is what this lesson about, bro. It's the war on the womb, man. And the saddest part is, brother, we are literally the ones that's being used to put war on our women, because guess what?
Ooh,
we turned to the white man and we knew we couldn't kick his ass. So now we turn at her. Hey, boy, hey, we turned it to her and said, man, leave that good man alone, man.
Hey, we were just talking about that when somebody joning on you and the dude who laughing too hard. So you want to come back? You laughing too hard. You don't get the person saying the joke, it's the one laughing too hard. That's how we ask to our women.
Yeah, man.
You saying way too damn much right now.
You saying too much. But you ain't gonna get the one that's banging on you.
Hey, that's why brothers be coming home pissed off. They can't take it out on their manager.
They can't take it out. So, man, they, you know what I'm saying? And the one just looking like, hey, man, you know, I'm right here with you. I'm just wondering when you going to do something about it.
Oh, man. Hey, man, that's a fact. That's a fact, man.
This is why we must stop and undo what we have been institutionally conditioned to think and perceive what our woman is to us and learn what they are designed to be for us. I believe Satan has learned and adapted a new strategy to getting to the seed by no longer attacking the seed directly, but now go for the womb, the matrix that bears the seed. This war on our women is the war on our matrix. And this is what I hope, in all, you know, all joking aside, I hope we will understand that when you are unrighteously, and what I mean by unrighteously, I mean without balance, lambasting, verbally, and in certain instances, physically abusing your woman, and you're calling yourself an Israelite man, you are in direct agreement with destroying the womb that your seed is purposed to come through. If you think destroying your woman's mind in order for you to get her body is the way to get your woman to be on your side, you are crazy. You are crazy. You are a lunatic. Yah did not design the Hebrew woman to be a doggone plaything. She is just as regal and righteous and meant to be righteous as you are.
Okay.
And it is a sign of weakness if you want your woman to be beaten down and to look disheveled and to be looking crazy because she been up 20 hours in a day making sure she take care of you, when a woman ain't even built like that. They're not designed like that. And yet you sitting on the couch with a 40-inch waist, rightly dividing the word, but wrongly living it. This is why we're calling this lesson the Matrix War. I believe by revelation there are many fronts on the war against the womb, but I will focus on 6 of them. I actually put 5, but it's 6. I think these are the top 6. All are socially engineered, politically and economically and spiritually engineered to attack the matrix via the Israelite woman. The first one is the gender war, which we've been basically talking about, which is a civil war based on gender in the Israelite community. The next is the war with overeducation, meaning to hyper-educate the woman over the man to assure her dissatisfaction with her man's complacency for the need of education, which will eventually drive her to equally educated men outside of her people. Then there's the war with economic stimulus through education and minority entrepreneur programs to stimulate the woman's finances, furthering her need from relational group economics, and basically tearing her away from group economics with her significant husband or significant other than her own man. So what am I saying? That he is waging war with economic stimulus geared towards the black woman is to assure she can do without him financially. The second is the war with sexual deviance and or defiance, using lesbian relationships as alternative choice to traditional heterosexual relations within the Hebrew community. The next is the war with medicine and medical mistreatment. This is where the health of the woman and her womb is under direct attack. And lastly is Planned Parenthood, the all-out attack on the seed while in the womb itself. This is why we're saying this is a war on the matrix. I believe the Most High has given certain of us new strategy in response to Hashatan's plan to attack the seed via the woman herself, thus the matrix. The first part of these different bullet points I gave is to doctrinally, theocratically establish the importance of the woman and her value within the Israelite worldview. So the only way we can overturn this agenda to attack the matrix is that we must now become re-educated on what is the Hebrew woman meant to be and for the Hebrew community. Only time when we the only way we can learn how to do this is when we can give time and real value and intrinsic worth to the woman. We must be able to know their value and understand how they were meant to bring value and how to maintain that value. So in other words, we have to go back to the drawing board. We as men, we have to learn Hebraically in the Israelite culture, how important was our woman? What was the lens our father saw the woman through? And they knew, if you don't know anything about, and next week, we're actually going to present a video, and I'm going to show you how intrinsic value that the woman had in the Israelite community and still should, right? Because if you don't know that, then you will never go about healthily approaching an Israelite woman. If you still think and see the Israelite woman through the slave master's lens, all you will see her as is property. You won't literally see her as a part and an extension of yourself. And any man that can't see his woman as an extension of himself will foolishly maim and retard himself. Our fathers had a clear-cut views of women's righteous and wicked. What am I saying? We are given a clear understanding of what a wicked woman is and what a righteous woman is. Unlike us, we have three understandings. A righteous woman, those who do what we say. A wicked woman, those who don't do what we say. And the bad ones, these are the ones we have no standard for so long as they look good and they give us something. Y'all understand that? And the Hebrew thinking man, the Hebrew Israelite man right now, all we think a righteous woman is one that does what we say. We don't expect her to have a biblical standard for how she is treated, for how she is understood, and in which way she was created, right? And we think we see a wicked woman as just someone who don't do what we say in spite of who we are as a wicked or righteous man. And then there's the other women that we just want to, hey, this one is just a concubine. It's lawful for us to sleep with prostitutes. We can have concubines. Now I'm hearing niggas got white concubines. And I think some of that 12-tribe chart is, at first I just thought that it was some hate on some of the sisters' part, but I believe some of that 12-tribe chart is biased towards women that probably are a little bit more on the Spanish side than the Afro or Indian side.
What do you mean?
I believe it's a way to justify sleeping with non-black women. What I mean by non-black, I mean non-indigenous women. If we look closely at the text, the Most High is clear on how we should see and interact with women as wives, as a wife, and societally. We are clear on what's to be of them. We through the scripture, we should be clear on what's to be of them as our subordinate. But I believe things come more gray when it comes to their overall makeup and application for and in our lives. But check this out. Our ops have not, nor do not have any problem seeing the full worth of our women. Our ops see the full potential and the full value of our women. And we actually will get in this part too. Go to Genesis 3 and 14.
This is the book of Bereshit, chapter 3, verse 14.
And
the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field, and upon thy belly shalt thou go, and the dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life.
Go ahead.
And I will put intimacy.
Wait. Enmity. Now we're talking about the war on the matrix. If we're talking about the war on the matrix, this is when the war began. This is when the war began. Again, this is when the war on the matrix began. And the war was ordained by the Most High. And I will put enmity. What does that word enmity mean? It means hostility. I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise your head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception and sorrow. Thou wilt bring forth children, and thy desire to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. When we look at that rule, that word rule, it means, if you think rule, when you think rule, you'll simply just think that he's there to totally control her. But when you look at the word, the root word of it means he will govern you. One aspect of governing something, yes, you have rule, but governing can also mean you can instruct, you can direct. And those things can actually be done through love. Those things can actually be done through guidance, right? In other words, what Yah is saying to Eve and all women that come under her is that you will depend on your husband for governance. But the point I'm trying to take out and extrapolate is that the war is really against Satan and the woman. The woman will need the man to help her win the battle. And he's involved in winning the battle because she carries his seed. So the man and the woman are supposed to be in allegiance against the serpent. This is a war for hearts and minds. You are a foolish man if you are not attempting to win the heart and mind of your woman, because you cannot bring seed into the earth without the woman. Your name continues because of the woman. Huh? See, the war was declared from the beginning that there will be enmity with the woman against the serpent. So all this time you hating on your woman, and the enemy is using your dumb ass to help win the woman which bears the womb for your seed. He coming for the seed. And the woman is the matrix of the seed. That's why he killing them at the womb. Then if he ain't successful in killing them at the womb, then he's going for the other womb, the womb outside of the natural womb, the womb of the environment, the social stratum. Negro, you are not going to win this war without your woman. So it behooves you to learn the chessboard. You better learn the value of that queen on the chessboard. You want to speak to that, Maury?
No, I mean, I think you hit on some really, really good points. I do want to say this because I went through a book. I actually gave a book to my Isha. I think Zion Lex, he has a book called Matriarchs of the Covenant. I think it's a very profound book. Really just, and I wouldn't just suggest sisters. I think brothers should read it too. Everything is scripturally based, but it just shows you the power of when you put your woman in the right placement, and really how often we may skip over how Yah may use them. I often like to remember if you really think about people that Yeshua told us to remember for their acts, who did he say? It was two. I hope I ain't getting into your lesson, but he gave reference to two women, right? The one woman who sat there and listened to him, she did the right thing, and then the other woman who literally used her hair and the oils to anoint him, right? Mm-hmm. And then we also know that he first revealed himself to a woman. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think because we're on this high kick of power, we often don't realize that we have a righteous power, more power when we put our woman in the right placement or where she needs to be. I often say in the ministry, I say this all the time, you can't create the image of Elohim without the woman.
You can't.
I look stupid dropped off because that statement. That's a fact. You're not a walking God. You're not God himself. You're not the image or likeness of God without the woman. The reality is both parties represent an attribute of Yah. Even when you go into the mature man, if you look at those attributes, and we use the terminology masculine and feminine, right? Not in the nature of sexism, but just the attribute, a nurturing side versus a creative, logical side. Mm-hmm. That's what we're dealing with. And that's really what the male and female represent, is that the attributes of Yah, not necessarily the sex. So when we look at that, you can't really embody Elohistic natures on earth without the root of that nature being the man and woman becoming literally one flesh.
Yes.
Because then when you become one, that means that now y'all both have that one head, which is Mashiach, right? Now that we talking about that linear line, that 1 Corinthians 11 really being played out. So I think brothers is missing a lot of benefits by not knowing how to use their women.
Yes. Yes. Well, Negroes is good at using women. And we're gonna say utilize, right?
Yeah, utilize.
We're gonna say utilize, right? Just play on words, right? But we have to see that our enemy sees a greater value in our women than we even think.
That's a fact.
And that's why they pour so many resources into them. Because I study the art of war a lot, right? And when I say the art of war, not only just the book, I read that, Tissu's son. I read that, but then I also studied social wars that we're under. I studied the economic wars we're under. I studied the many facets and the many fronts of different wars, right? And when I mean study, I'm talking about a scientifical approach to understanding our reality in this country and overall the state of the world, right? But one thing you know is that in war, you have different war chests, and your war chest is allocated for different elements of the war. And most people, most countries will always say the best wars are won without firing a shot, right? Because bullets cost a lot more than words, right? And I think what we don't get, as far as strategy is concerned, is that there's a lot more to invest. When you invest helping, whether it be what we would call marketing information, but if you are out to that country, you're going to recognize that it's propaganda, right? So much of the coffers, so much of your war chest will go towards propaganda, right? And also what they will call re-education, because once you take over a country, you want to re-educate them, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why we push. Hey, shalom, brother Travis. That's why we push when a democracy is pushed. Also, what you will see pushed there is democracy. Once you settle democracy, you're going to push Western civilization, right? You're going to push that propaganda into that country because now you're attempting to Westernize them. Well, what's going on right now is, as you see, what was a part of the war chest and you always forced, let me back up real quick. You're always forced to change, not necessarily your agenda, but you're sometimes forced to change your strategy. The old strategy used to be is give women free money and housing and separate them from their husbands. Now the new strategy is educate them, right? And economically estrange them from their man, empower them, right? Because that old strategy ain't working now. You can't use the same strategy to follow the same plan. But as we're told, a tree by its fruit. Mm-hmm. If making women more sound as far as education and economics, and the fruit is that they still don't want their man, they don't need their man, then it's the same agenda, right? It's the same result of when you gave them federal assistance as far as housing and welfare and ... right? If the same results yield that they're not going to be with their man, then guess what? It's just a different strategy, but the same agenda, right? So once you see the agenda, when the agenda is the fruit, it'll never tell you that, it'll never be different, as long as it's bringing the same results. So as men, we're going to begin to really study the board, like really study the strategy of our enemy. And though we may not have money, one thing we automatically have is the desire of the Black woman is fixed to be with her man. Unlike Black men don't have that fixation, that natural fixation to be with the Hebrew woman. Thus, we have so many issues in the past with our kings wanting to marry foreign women. That ain't nothing new to the Israelite nigga. You see what I'm saying? But no, I'm just saying. But one thing we're losing our women now. Because now look what's happening. You're seeing more propaganda. You're seeing more shows with interracial relationships with more Black women with white men. You'll clearly hear Black women at one point wouldn't even desire a white man saying, well, I don't really see nothing wrong with it. I think it's cute. Right. Oh, they're attractive, like, right? Because that's the brainwashing. That's telling you the brainwashing is working. Right? So guess what you do? You get like a Serena, marry a white guy. You let the Negroes dog them out enough and then put them in a successful relationship with a white guy. Then guess what that does? That makes the white guy looks even more attractive. right? Because now you have what you call within propaganda you have I forgot what they call it, but there's basically faces of different propaganda that happens where you actually put, like they used to put posters like Uncle Sam wants you, like you, and it'll incite certain feelings and emotions about you being committed to fight for America, right? Well, it's the same thing. You get enough women to become the poster child for a successful interracial relationship, then what you're doing is you're seeing that more and more Black women are going to start going that way, because it stands to reason, if this is going to lead to more safety and security, why would I compromise my potential happiness by simply being with a Black man? To where at one point, certain Black women's devotion, and the majority of Black women's devotion was unshakable, right? Because they understood that we're only going through this because we just came out of that situation. But now, as we're becoming more plural, there's getting more plural relations. Women are getting more options to want to be, to have same-sex desires, interracial desires. But what that is doing is taking away from the purposed womb designed that for your children. Because remember, the seed of that woman is supposed to crush the head of the enemy. If your womb is giving birth to the seed of her enemy, then she's been taken off the battlefield. So we're not talking emotions, we're talking strategy.
There's a reason why
in Genesis 3.
Yeah, there's a reason why in war they take the women and children. Like there's a strategic reason why they do that.
Yeah,
they don't do it just because out of lust. They literally they're actually coming more from a economical military thought of, if we can take the mind and womb, both wombs, the mind and her actual womb. Not only can we repopulate ourselves, but we can repopulate our doctrine.
Okay.
We can and then we take the children and we raise their children as our own. And now we have their children. They may not look like us, but they will think like us and move like us and have an allegiance to us.
Right.
Those are things we really don't think about. Even in the element you saying that of like sending them to a job. Like you don't realize you're actually equipping your enemy. You're equipping your enemy to have more arsenal and weapons, even your own woman. So when she say, I can't do this because my boss said I gotta check in.
That's it.
You just allowed your woman to be a weapon against you. You just allow her to be a weapon against you.
Right.
So this is why brothers, like, even if you have to default to a 9 to 5, you should be the one doing it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, at least you would know that your house is still operating economically how it needs to, while you have to go out, right? And we can even use the element of Proverbs 31 when the husband was at the gate to the elders. We clearly he was away from the home, and whatever he had to do, maybe it was to go serve an elder or whatever the case is, but he knew his woman was at home multiplying everything that he was bringing back in.
God, yes.
So if you're not moving in that element, you are literally losing the war, even within your own home.
Right. See, and we talk about these things. Some of this stuff we talked about, I mean, it's thematic for a lot of our lessons, right? When we talk about, because our 4 pillars, one of our 4 pillars is family, right? So you're kind of going to get some of the same information, just attacked from a different approach, from a different angle, right? And we, I know I brought this up in several other lessons, but let's look at the elite, right? They purposely make sure they marry within, if not their bloodline alone, they make sure they marry within their own society, their own economic and education structure, right? They make sure that happens because they want to make sure that money stays within that family and or within that social construct. So They think like that. And you got to understand, if they think like that, then they understand the potency of that happening from doing that generation to generation. It helps keep their wealth within their own society or within their own families. But you got to know that if they know that, then they know the power of perverting that, right? They know the power and the potential in doing the opposite, especially to us, because they know our potential. They know our potential, as they know the potential, because they know the potency of us as Israelite children, as the children of Israel. So don't think that they're not using they're not using strategy along with economic sourcing to make sure that happens. And so now the strategy is to come after the woman. And we see signs, we see glimpses of that in the Willie Lynch letter. But now I think because we got to think that they always have to change their agenda, even though they brought out the women's movement. That's their working, right? But at the same time, they're realizing we just can't make these women not like their men, and nothing comes with it. You see what I'm saying? We got to give them a reason now. So yes, guess what? We got to dig in the bank. We got to deal in the war chest and may pull out more money, right? So what is the strategy for the Israelite man? You're not gonna browbeat the sister into following you just by calling her names. If that's your strategy, bro, it's not gonna work. Like I said, the one thing that we have to our benefit is that our sisters
Hey, Chief, you may be frozen. Is he frozen, y'all? It was just me. Is he frozen? Oh, we can wait till you get back on. All right, Travis. So you do see that he's frozen. He frozen? All right. We're gonna wait till you get back on, but if y'all got some understanding so far, drop some sevens in the chat. If the lesson is making sense, drop some sevens in the chat. If y'all enjoying the information, drop some fire emojis in the chat. If the lesson is making sense, drop some sevens in the chat. If it's a fire lesson so far, drop some fire emojis if you can. Sister Warren did drop a 7 or a fire. You just said con. We're going to get back on. But just continuing where he was leaving off at is that as Hebrew men, and this is why we encourage brothers, especially young brothers, don't even think about getting with a woman. Don't even think about dealing with a woman until you first learn how to deal, manage, and discipline yourself. We have to understand as men, I don't care what that woman do, you are responsible and accountable for her actions, which is why Yah gave you the power to literally disavow any type of bind that she may put on herself or her household. All right, Sarah. So and that takes an emotional, intelligent brother. That takes a sober-minded, mature brother to be able to do that. And just like, for example, right, in certain African cultures, right, if you've been around for a minute, you heard me tell the story. There's actual levels to this. There's something called a rites of passage. And so in one story, you will see that the first element that a young man must master is he must first master how to manage cattle, manage sheep, manage goats, manage cows, things of that nature. You'll see King David, right? His father was a shepherd. So he grew up a rites of passage going through and learning how to shepherd, which is why he was so great a king. And so it is through this that one can learn not only how to deal with multiple entities or people, or in this case, things or animals, but he will learn how to manage even personalities and attitudes. Let's look at a goat. A goat is rebellious by nature, right? A goat is rebellious by nature, therefore it has its own thoughts and knows where it wants to go. A sheep, this is why I call it a dumb sheep, is in much need of a shepherd, much need of guidance. And they can be swayed and moved by anything that looks like it can lead it. They did an experiment with, and we watched this years ago, where a goat they would use a goat to lead these sheep into the slaughter. So these are different elements that a young man had to master in order to graduate. And if he did not master learning how to shepherd those animals, what it was said was the elders told him he could not marry a woman until he mastered those animals. And if he got to an age where he could not master those animals, then he would pretty much get kicked out of the village, right? Or he couldn't be in the midst of them. Because the importance is you're not just marrying to marry. You're marrying and you're actually integrating families and tribes together. And that bond of marriage should be there to unite and expand the tribal economics. But if you're getting into a marriage that not have been validated or approved, or you haven't yourself mastered the element on how to manage such a soul or souls, you can bring damage to the community. You can bring a rift into the community, therefore showing a hole of weakness that can affect you later down the line and your people to your village. So it was very important that a man had to master that capability before taking on a woman, because then he was able to guide her the proper way, so she would have the mindset to guide his children, because she was their first teacher. Therefore, he needed to make sure that she got the right mindset to teach his children. And that took time, which is why you'll see in the Torah that he would take a year off. He had to show her how to manage and expand and duplicate and replicate and multiply everything he had already established itself, so that once they got that rhythm going, he was able to go back to his work. And now she became the chiefess and manager of the home, of the servants, of the children, of the cattle, of the clothes, of the food. She was all those things, and he had enough wealth, or he had enough finances to supply her with 18, which is why she had servants. Hold on, y'all, real quick. My bad, y'all. It wasn't necessarily just to have it was help give her more helping hands to manage everything that he got. So even when you see the dynamics of how we operate now, yes, we behind the ball during captivity, but the reality is one woman was not meant to do all things. She wasn't. This is why women are struggling to handle all those responsibilities, because we don't have enough resources to supply her with many hands so that she can be the chiefess that she's called to be, whether that be servants, many servants, or if a brother had many wives. They were all there to expand the work. What's the saying? More hands make the work light. So we have to understand the dynamics and how resourceful a man had to be so that his woman could be everything she was supposed to be for him. But if you're not only if you're not a man who's resourceful and you ain't giving her resources, but then you're a man that don't even feel like he need to work, you think that woman not gonna get stressed out? You think that she's not gonna go through a lot of trauma having to handle all those responsibilities, let alone your responsibilities too? That's a hard job for any one woman can ask. Any one woman can ask. So as men, we have to learn how to be more resourceful. I don't want to hear nothing about no captivity. Let's be honest, we more tributaries and exiles than what our ancestors went through less than 200 years ago. There's no chains and fetters around our neck and our hands and our ankles. We have an opportunity to tap into resources to be able to provide for our families like we need to. But when you are sitting here being subservient to your master, and then you force your back to be subservient to your master, see, really the Hebrew servant law start applying to you versus the master he loves. Where your master is asking you, well, you can go, man. You can go. But your children got to stay here. So what you want to do? You want to come serve me the rest of your life and continue your family? You want to go without? Especially if he supplied you the wife. So understanding that we are called to be more resourceful than what we're acting like. Your job is not, you can't even name in the history of Israelites before America where you see us on the highways and byways for 3 to 5 hours a day, literally teaching to the wind. You would never see that in our history. And then y'all are using prophets as your reason why. Now there was prophets who did that, but most of you Negroes ain't prophets. Y'all looking for a prophet. And so that prophet was sent really to Israel. He wasn't sent to all other nations like that. He was sent to Israel to help Israel get in line. So we need to stop misappropriating titles and positions and stop being lazy in what we're supposed to do as Hebrew men. Let's just be honest. The first job ever given to mankind was husbandry. That was his first duty. He was supposed to be a steward of the earth. So we can talk a lot of jargon and jack, but when it comes down to it, if you don't know how to till your woman's mind, her womb, if you don't know how to till your land and your home properly and nurture it properly by way of the word and plant righteous seed, bro. And going back to what I said, you are not a man. You are not a man. So go ahead, Chief.
Hallelujah. I don't know what happened. My internet just cut off by itself. So I think good stuff right there, Maureen. I forgot where I actually left off. I believe I was just basically saying that we got to understand the enemy strategy and that it hasn't changed, and that no matter how subtle it may be, at the end of the day, if we want to know how our enemy is working, all we have to do is look at the fruit. The fruit will always tell you the tree. It always tell you it's the source and the root it comes from, right? So when we think about integration, we should see it as much more than just attempting to get us to source out our independence in order for us to get along. Is also to slowly and meticulously dissipate the potential that we have. So I'm going to read the notes of what we just read out of Genesis 3:16. And we see that the woman is the one that actually is at war with him. Not that the man ain't at war with him, right? Don't get what I'm saying wrong. I'm saying that the woman and the serpent are the ones at enmity against each other. They're at odds with one another. And therefore, the woman is the one that he sees as the biggest threat, even though overall, because the threat is that man is made in Yah's likeness and his image, but he understands that it's through the womb that man came into existence, and we're actually going to cover that because that's what Paul speaks of later on when he talks about the man, the woman, the man came from the woman, but the woman came out of man. But we're going to actually cover that some more. But so from my notes, says this shows the woman is ordained vessel against Satan, and her womb has the potential to bear seed against his seed. So every child that comes from an Israelite woman is a threat against his seed. So we should be able to see the potential and value of our mother, daughters, cousins, and wives. Let's go to Proverbs 18 and 22. I'm going to read these real quick. Whoso findeth wife findeth a good thing and obtain a favor of Yah. And that means favor means desire, acceptable. Those things that would become from the Lord, right? And then when I say wives and daughters, we should see as valuable. Go ahead and read Ecclesiastes, Sirach 25, and what was that? 7?
7.
No, 7 and 25. Verse 25.
7 and 25. This book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 7, verse 25, said, "Marry thy daughter, and so shalt thou have performed a weighty matter, but give her to a man of understanding."
Right. So we should, when we give our daughters, it's a weighty matter. You want to make sure you give your daughter to a man of understanding. This is why a man of understanding must be one that is covering an Israelite woman, because only a man of understanding will understand her value and her potentiality. Right? You get that?
Okay.
Got that? Because when you a man of, and that's why he says it's a weighty matter. It's a weighty matter for a father to give his daughter to a man of understanding, and it can't be just based on the way he look. It can't be based on if he's LeBron James. It can't be based on if he's if he's the leading star of the NBA, NFL, and he got a lot of money. No, he said he's a man of understanding. Why? Because the woman holds an intrinsic value, and it's through her the nation continues. The nation continues through the womb of the woman, through the matrix, right? Go ahead.
But it says, "But give not thyself over to a light woman." What does that mean?
A light woman will be a vain woman, something that's vanity, like vain, doesn't hold any kind, so when you say light or vain, you're like, it's nothingness. Like there's nothing. A light woman. Think about a light woman, right? That's a vain woman. She's very superficial. Do you want a superficial woman raising your children?
Absolutely.
Right? You see what I'm saying? Do you want a vain woman that's just into looking a certain way and seeing how she's perceived by how she looks to everybody? For one thing, she doesn't even see her own real value.
Right.
Because if her value is just in superficialness, then that means that she has no depth. If she don't have no depth, she doesn't have any ability to produce a seed, to give you seed that may actually be a potential threat to Satan's kingdom. In fact, she's probably working for Satan's kingdom. You see what I'm saying? Right. Because Satan is into vanity. He loves vanity. You see what I'm saying? That's his playground, dealing with people of vanity. Because he could give them that stuff, and he knows that it's not a threat to his kingdom. You see what I'm saying? Did that?
Yes.
Okay, hallelujah. So when we look at the word, you know what? We'll go ahead and end it right there. We're going on 2 hours. What y'all think? Should we keep going? Because we got a big hunk to go. What say you, Maury?
We're about going 2 hours. So.
Yeah. So you ready to roll? Ready to close it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with that being, do it. Yeah. That boy Chewy. What you over to Eno, man? Huh?
I'm eating some almonds.
Oh, you eat some almonds? Okay, man. You eating them off of Aaron's staff, brother?
Hey, man. You know how it is. All natural. Organic.
Yeah, man. So with that being said, family, we thank you. We'll go ahead and close this up for right now. It's all done. We'll wrap it up, but believe me, we got a lot more to go. I ain't gonna say we scratched the surface. We most definitely broke ground on the conversation, but we're really you guys gonna really be surprised. As little as Yah may have to say, the word has to say about our women, concerning our women, when he speaks of them and about them, it's for the lack of a better word, weighty. He actually shows the value of a woman, of our women. Our women are very, very important to our kingdom and to our culture. And I'm actually going to look for an old video I actually pulled up, and hopefully with no complications, we'll share that and we'll see how deep the family is. If Hebrew Israelites don't understand this, if we understand this one thing, this would be the thing that actually causes us to truly come into the awakening. That when we read the curses, we should see that the curses was an attack on the family. It was not an attack, but it was
Strategy.
Strategy. Not even say strategy, because it's Yah that actually put us under the curses, right? As a response to our disobedience. So I don't want to say it's a strategy, but I'll just say that it's a thing that happened that broke the family up. If you don't understand, every country, every nation that has strength is because it has families operating within it. Yeah, that's family. You won't see one culture that doesn't have some type of family structure and value, the value of a family operating in it. And why the curses are so powerfully at work in our community is because we can see the damage done to our community for a lack of family. You see what I'm saying? Once we understand that that's the curses, that it was the actual dismantling of the family. Once we see that, then we'll see the importance of us understanding, as men, understanding our women's value and their potential. When you're looking for a woman, you're looking actually for a woman you can co-labor with to bring about Satan's kingdom, the end of Satan's kingdom. Okay. And even more so than just your brothers. We think cohesion among our brothers is more desirable than having a strong relationship with your wife. And it's not. Yes, it's good that brothers dwell together in unity, but a man and a woman bringing forth a seed has the potential to bring down Satan's kingdom. And we've seen that happen through Hamashiach. But believe me, he's at war with the seed of the righteous, period. So in every dispensation, Satan is attempting to stop the seed that's going to come and break another let's say another hinge off the gates of his kingdom. And we've been given that authority by Mashiach, right? But the war is on the families, and he understands that his strategy is against the family, right? Okay. Therefore, and the family is the makeup of the family is the man and the woman. You know, and there's a lot of men give advice that you're supposed to love your woman even more than your children, because your children are going to go out and create even more for their families. Right. They're going to lead, right? But your woman but while your man, the purpose of the womb is to bring forth the seed of the righteous. And then when we go into it, we're going to see that's why Yah wanted the firstborn of everything. that broke matrix, that came out of that matrix, and particularly the boy. I'm gonna say something to you guys a little strange. A woman, believe it or not, a woman's womb, I'm gonna say it's closed, but it's not recognized as its full potential until it gives birth to its first son. The first son that comes out of that womb is the one that God wants, and that's for a reason. He wants it sanctified for his use, because every man child has the potential to bring down the kingdom, but every woman has the potential to give birth to that child that will bring down the kingdom. Okay. So we have to bring balance to that understanding. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
With that being said, we'll go on and we're gonna continue this next Shabbat. Mikhail, he's still working on the left back, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind if we stay in the flow of this particular lesson. Hallelujah.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. I want you to finish it out.
Huh?
I want you to finish the whole thing out before I get back on.
Okay. So, but anyway, family, we want to say Mishpachah, shalom, and I hope this has edified you and given you greater understanding. I hope brothers get a hold of this lesson. I really do. I hope brothers that y'all spirit will believe on this lesson. We ain't the biggest. We don't get a lot of attention, but I hope this. Well, I'll say this. I hope this lesson gets to the right men, not a lot of men. Y'all don't need a lot of men. You just need the right men. Hallelujah. So with that being said, we'll say salute and shalom.
Shalom, family.